Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. Here we go now. I'm not holding it anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for, and what this life is about. Well, it's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. Here we go now. Voice that I've heard for years, I learned to keep it inside. Now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. Well, it's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. Good morning.
Great music. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Little Rock. You know what, guys? You know you have come somewhere in Unity of Little Rock when they let you do the clicker. Tam said, can you do the clicker? And I got to tell you, this is a responsibility because, you know, I'm used to listening to the music and kind of going with the flow. But when you're doing this, you got to be paying attention to the lyrics so you know when to advance to the next slide. So
my A team and my B team and my C team.
I'm the D team. I'm the D team for the clicker. I'm the D team clicker. It's extremely important. It's the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup. And that's how life is. Isn't it right? You got to have backups to your backup. I'm so glad y'all are here this morning. Welcome to Unity of Little Rock and happy St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's wearing green, so, oh, okay, Judy. So if you're not wearing green, your possibility of getting pink today, right? So,
I thought I was wearing green. Oh, I'm colorblind.
oh, you're colorblind. It doesn't count, Robert, so, you know. Do we have any guests here with us today? Anybody attending Unity for the first time that we'll just acknowledge? So, well, we're glad y'all are here. We got a big day today. First of all, we got a great speaker. One of our most favorite, Susan Julie Gonzales, is here from Hot Springs to present another great lesson for us. We're going to have some great music. And then we've got our annual meeting. It's our business meeting after the service today. So it's going to be short. It's going to be short and sweet. And I think some of us are going to probably plan on going out to eat lunch afterwards. If anybody wants to join, you're welcome to do that. So I want to, yes, ma'am. Well, we'll have the announcements toward the end of the service. The George Crook. That's next Sunday. Yeah, that's next Sunday. Yes, that's next Sunday. So. And it was a little bit confusing because he was here Wednesday night and did a little hour-long introductory thing, and then he's not speaking until next Sunday, and that's an upcoming workshop, and we'll talk about that later. All right, so let's everybody right now. Won't you stand up? And there's a few of us in number right now, but let's meet each other, greet each other, and say hi.
Let you know when it's well, it's easy. You can start. 3, 4. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Well, there's nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Well, there's nothing you can say that you can learn to play the game. That can't be made. Well, there's nothing you can say that can't be said. Well, there's nothing you can do that you can love you in time. It's easy. Everybody dream. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love is all you need. Nothing you can know that isn't known. There's nothing you can see that isn't shown. There's nothing you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Now, wasn't that fun?
Thank you. All right, well, I guess we're going to have to mind our P's and Q's now. We're getting to the serious part of the service. You know, I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. We were talking about that phrase, P's and Q's. You ever thought about that, where that comes from?
I know where it is.
So I did some looking up on it last night, and, you know, I'm just like, they don't really know where it came from. There's like a lot of different theories and all that. So I thought, well, we can just kind of make up our own idea of where it comes from. But, you know, to mind your P's and Q's means to watch your language, to watch what you're doing, to watch your behavior, to mind your manners. So that's probably a pretty good admonition for a bunch of eunuchs, right? To mind our P's and Q's. But
you know where it came from? This is appropriate, too.
Okay.
Up in the pub in Ireland.
Yeah.
It came from the pub. To make mind your pints and quarters.
Ah.
Somebody in the bar was having a few. They got a little rambunctious.
Mind your Pints in quarts. Okay, well, I did read that. And there was also, in relating to typesetting, it said in relation to typesetting, like when you're typesetting in the old days, it has to be the mirror image. So they said to mind your P's and Q's because it was like the P and the Q were like the mirror image of each other. And they were having to print it as a mirror image, so making sure they got the right one. So,
That makes sense.
So, I like it, though, because it means being mindful. And to me, I think that's how it ties into what we teach here at Unity Church. We were talking about, the word for today is imagination. And so when we think about the power of imagination at work in our life, we're creating this world. We're creating our reality and our existence. So it becomes important that we remain mindful of the thoughts and the ideas and the beliefs that are going through our head, to mind our P's and Q's. And what I did, I made up an acronym for the P and the Q. I thought, well, what could the P and the Q stand for? Mind your peace and quiet. Mind your peace and quiet. Because as we mind our peace and quiet, that's when we can become aware of those thoughts that are in our mind, those thoughts that are creating our reality. That's a powerful, powerful principle of unity when you realize that I am creating my reality by the thoughts held in mind strongly. Well, then when I look at the reality I'm living in, what I've created, I'm thinking this must be a reflection of the thoughts I'm holding in mind. Am I aware of those thoughts? And if I'm seeing things in my reality that I think, I don't want this, then maybe I need to look at the thoughts that I'm having, minding my P's and Q's. Anyway, so that's that. We have our Christ candle here this morning, reminding us that we are that Christ light that's shining forth in the world. Let your mind center on that through the service. We have the prayer box for any prayer requests that you might have. Certainly put them on the slip of paper, put them in the box. They'll be prayed over here at Unity of Little Rock for 30 days, and then they'll be sent to Unity and Silent Unity, and they'll be prayed on for another 30 days there. So we have the prayer box. We also have our statement of being. So if you will, just recite with me now. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Y'all did good, and thank you, Robert. I learned from him to direct when they started saying that. The word for the day is imagination. I imagine new and positive possibilities for my life. And the power of the month is wisdom. So I like to combine the power of the month with the word of the day. And again, tying back to our P's and Q's, it's using our wisdom to mind and tend to our thoughts and to the imagination that we hold in mind. So if you will, let's go ahead and enter into our prayer. Take a moment just to relax, however that's best for you. Breath in, maybe blow it out. Just let yourself rest comfortably there in the pew. If you like, you can close your eyes. And I want you to concentrate on this idea that wisdom is expressed everywhere, within and without. Within my body is the power of wisdom at work in my physiology, in the process that's taking place in my body, this infinite divine wisdom. And without, in nature, this time of the year we see the wisdom in nature and the budding life that's springing forth at this time. Say to yourself, I am the power of wisdom that discerns my right and perfect response in all situations and in all circumstances. I mind my spiritual P's and Q's, and I am divinely guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. Let me repeat that. I mind my spiritual P's and Q's, and I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. As we meditate on that thought, we have the realization that by using the power of wisdom, we can move forward in our life with faith, trust and hope. We affirm to ourselves that we trust life, and my nature is abundant. And our hearts are filled with gratitude and appreciation for this realization and for the presence of spiritual beingness that we are. So it is.
We all could be more tolerant. Wondering, what if acceptance was our first choice? Might we be able to cut through the different and just love a little more? We could live higher than ever. Share something, all of us hail from the same somewhere. We all share something, we breathe in and out the same precious air. We should be able to cut through the different and just love a little more. We would live higher than ever before. With each step we would walk with trust as our guide. Hand in hand we would march and sing side by side. When we are present, we know that each moment is ours to create. When we are present, we waste not our moments on judgment and hate. We're more than able to cut through the different and just love a little more. We shall live higher than ever. Higher than ever before.
Well, everybody, I want y'all to help me welcome. This woman needs no introduction. We know her, we love her. We're excited that she's here. We can't wait to hear her talk this morning. Help me welcome our speaker today, Susan Julie Gonzales.
Thank you. It's good to be here with you. What a beautiful day. We're having some fabulous weather. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Go to the garden.
I'm sorry?
Go out to the garden.
You want a garden?
Let's go out to the garden.
You want to? Yeah. It might be a little windy, but yeah, it would be nice to go out in the garden. For those that don't know me, there might be a person here that may have not heard me before. My name is Susan Julie Gonzales. I am a religious science practitioner. I am in my 10th year, embarking on my 10th year as a licensed practitioner with Centers for Spiritual Living. My home church these days is in Oklahoma. I've never been to Oklahoma yet. I haven't been there. But my minister who holds my license is at Inner Journey Center for Spiritual Living, Reverend Sue Allen. And I am very grateful, so grateful to be here at Unity, to be able to share what I love. And I was thinking about why I do what I do and why I share what I love. When I first found religious science, there was this little booklet, and I found it in Hot Springs, Arkansas, while I was living in California. I found a little booklet, kind of like the Unity booklets. There was a Science of Mind booklet. And when I was reading this booklet, I took it back to California and I was in my cubicle at work. And all I wanted to do was stand up and everybody should be reading this. And the thing that comes to mind right now was the piece that nobody can take anything away from you that belongs to you. And I was in sales. And it was all, get out and go get the sale before somebody else gets the sale, right? That was the whole mentality of sales, is you got to get to there first. And when I was reading that, it's like, wow, it just took this load off. It took that pressure off of having to go get something before somebody else got it, or thinking that there wasn't enough for me. And so that was huge at that time in my life. And so what I realized was that if we have a shift in consciousness, knowing that there is enough for all of us, that everything that we need is within us, as our powers, the 12 powers of man. And this is what I am working out of. I know we're in Lent and we're in that season, and since I'm here once a month, I'm going to stick to my 12 powers of man. And this month is wisdom. And I love this quote by Eckhart Tolle. And the quote is that you don't become good by trying to be good, but by finding the goodness that is already within you and allowing that goodness to emerge. When we look at truth principles, we can change. You do not become wise by trying to be wise, but by finding the wisdom that is already within you. And you can change that word good and replace it with that quality that you're looking to be more of, whether it's to be more loving. You don't have to look outside for love. You already are it. You already are it. And so in finding that truth principle in the wisdom that we are, and Charles Fillmore tells us that the center of our wisdom is our solar plex. Right, the solar plex, and I was so jazzed when I read this. I'm going to share it with you. And so I have my new soapbox is water. And so in the nervous system, I'm going to share this with you, and this comes out of the 12 Powers of Man by Charles Fillmore. And so it's the solar plex, which is the nervous system, right? And so when Solomon, the sun man or solar plexus man, when asked by the Lord what he should give him, chose wisdom above riches and honor, then all the other things were added. Solomon was a great judge. And if you remember the story about the two women that had this baby, everybody know that story? Somebody not know the story? So there was this woman had this baby, and this other woman would say, no, that's my baby. And so they took the child to Solomon, and Solomon said, well, we'll just cut that baby in half, since it belongs to you and it belongs to you, we don't know. And the woman whose baby it was said, no, give her the baby. And Solomon, well, the mother that wants to save the child must be the mother of the child. And so having wisdom, and we all have that same wisdom. It's, do we tap into that wisdom? And so in reading the book on water and the nervous system, and I was thinking about how we dishonor our internal wisdom. We ignore it. We get those aha moments. We get those things that when someone says something to us, we look at them and go, we tilt our head like that puppy dog that is, like looking like, really? What are you doing? And so we ignore those signals. And so when we ignore those signals, and we're not trained in our society to honor those signals. We're not trained. And so at the very basic things like water, we're not trained to really honor our water requirements. And so the nervous system requires water. I want to share this with you. Some life-sustaining properties of water. The proteins and the enzymes of the body function are more effective in a solution of lower viscosity. This is true of all the receptors of the cell membranes and the means of command and the control messages. So the system that controls the messages of the body that start at our solar plex, right? It's controlled by our nervous system, and it works best when there's fluid. The fluid is moving freely. And so in solutions of a higher viscosity in a hydration state, so it's thicker, right? It's thicker, proteins and enzymes become less effective. So there's less movement of the free flow of whatever the body needs. It's thicker, so it's kind of sludgy going through there, right? If you think about it. So using your imagination, which is the word of the day, right, is the imagination. So every single thing that you put into the body temple, this is the body of the divine, this is the body that is walking spirit, right? Walking spirit. We can say that the house of God is going everywhere where you go today. Everywhere you go today is walking spirit, is taking spirit along. That's the purpose of the body temple, is to take spirit where it needs to go to do the work that is required of it to do in this form. And we all have something to do. We all have something to do. And I love, okay, I'm going to go back to Charles Fillmore here. And I was so jazzed when I read this. You know, I just love it. Intuition, judgment, wisdom, justice, discernment, pure knowing, and profound understanding are natural to man. It's natural to us. It's our natural state. All these qualities and many more belong to every one of us by and through his divine sonship, by our divine sonship, by the very presence of being here. It's yours. It is already yours. Just as Eckhart Tolle says, you don't have to become good. You don't have to become wise. You just have to be it. And it doesn't matter if somewhere, at some point in history, something happened where we got knocked off, that we made a choice or a decision that wasn't very wise, that was out of integrity for our belief system. It was a choice that we made, and we have free will. That is our divine inheritance also. And those choices that we make that are out of sync, out of harmony with divine law, we reap the repercussions. As Travis was saying, where was my thinking? In something that I experienced. Everything that we experience is an effect. There's a cause that's set in motion, and then we experience the effect. And this is true of everything. So this is a quote. Jesus said, I said, ye are gods, and all of you the sons of the Most High, the sons and daughters of the Most High. So how about if we sit up a little straighter, just right now, just sit up on your sit bone a little bit, and sit as the sons and daughters of the Most High. And when we walk around in the world, that it's not an egotistical thing, because it is our very essence. It is our truth. We're created in the image and likeness of God. And when we walk around in our knowingness, when we pass by the mirror, there's a mirror over here, right? Is it right? And know that I am the presence of God. And this is true for every one of us. You know, it's not that, oh, it's just me. It is every single person. No matter what they are experiencing, no matter what effect is happening in their lives by right of consciousness. Whatever is happening in our lives collectively as a country by right of consciousness of a country, in whatever country we may be in, one may be in, but we are experiencing whatever we are experiencing by right of consciousness. And truth prevails, love prevails. Do we go in, deep within, for understanding of that? A quickening of our divine judgment arouses us, the judge of all the world. The wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable. When we call this righteous judge into action, we may find our standards of right and wrong undergoing rapid changes, but if we hold steadfast to the Lord as our supreme guide, we shall be led unto all righteousness. Many persons doubt that there is an infinite law of justice working in all things. Let us now take heart and know that this law has not worked in their affairs previously, because they have not called it into the activity in the creative center of the soul. When we call our intent forces into action, the universal law begins its great work in us. We're always using the law. The law is always in motion. It is never not in motion. We may be experiencing things, and I believe what Charles Fillmore is talking about here is that we may not be using it to our most highest holy benefit. We may be having stinking thinking, right? We may be thinking things that are not life-enhancing. We may be having experiences. I had an experience, I got off track. I had an experience that made me think about something in a way that wasn't in its most highest holy way, and I burnt my crackers. I had some crackers in the oven, and my thought process, I was thinking like, like really working this thing out, and usually I can smell whatever is in the oven, and it's like perfect. You know, my sense of smell and the timing of when it needs to, it's always perfect. But my thinking was so out of sorts that I overrode that smell, and my crackers burnt. And I'm like, that's what you get. That was my effect. That was my immediate effect of the law in motion. Right? And so we're always setting the law in motion, whether how we get up first thing in the morning with the thoughts of how the day is going, that we want to get up or don't want to get up. All of those are setting the motion, setting the intention of the vibrational tone of our day. So I invite you to, when you wake up in the morning, to give yourself a hug and say, wonderful, wonderful me, our wonderful, wonderful me. Some of you may not know our 84-day challenge, so let's share. There's a couple of new people. Let's share the wonderful, wonderful me. Let's stand up, and if you can, stand up, and let's face each other, since there's just a few people. And you remember the wonderful, wonderful me? This is a great thing to do in the morning, or even before you go to bed at night, especially if you had a bad day. So what we're going to do is we're going to do wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me 3 times, and then we're going to say, I'm getting better and better every day in every way, and then we're going to let it go with a ha, ha, ha. Okay, ready? Go. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. I'm getting better and better every day in every way. That is sure to set the stage for a nice movement of setting your intention for the day, or even setting your intention when you go to sleep at night, to affirm your wonderfulness. And when we affirm our wonderfulness, we're affirming the wonderfulness of the divine that is within us, that is us. Somehow the translation, I was thinking of how we translate things that we hear, especially as children, and we may carry that attaché case with the translations that aren't truth of our being. And so I invite you to be, as Eckhart Tolle says, to be the watcher of your thoughts. And this last week I was talking with my sister, and she left her car at my house while she went to California for a month, and I drove it a couple of times, and I thought, I better check the gas. Where's the gas in this, find the gas gauge on her car. And I'm like, ooh, I better put gas in there before she comes back. And I was thinking, every now and then when my car gets really low on gas, I think that, I have a little bit of my mother. She was like sometimes running on fumes and praying on the way home, like, okay, God, get me and these 4 children home, or 5 kids, praying to get home. I think we only ran out of gas once, but it was praying to get home. My mother had so much faith. She got home on fumes lots of times. But I thought, I wonder if I have a little bit of that in me, because that's how I was raised, right? And so what's the best thing that we can say when a truth, something that we've been carrying around as a truth, is not the truth? What can we say? Cancel. Get thee behind me, Satan. Right? It's a lie. And that's all that Satan is. It's the lies that we were told, whatever it may be. Get out of here. That's not truth. That is not the truth of my being. We can say cancel. Get thee behind me. Get powerful. If there's something that has had a hold on you, whatever it may be, get thee behind me. Get thee behind me. The words that Jesus used. Powerful. Powerful. Charles Fillmore goes on to say here, and I love this. Wisdom includes judgment. Okay, so let's see. I may reread here a little. Wisdom includes judgment, discernment, intuition, and all the departments of the mind that come under the heading of knowing. The house of the throne of this wise judge is the nerve center called the solar plexus. The natural man refers to it as the pit of the stomach. The preceding intelligence at the center knows what is going on, especially in the domain of consciousness pertaining to the body and its needs, its requirements. Chemistry as its specialty, it also knows all the pertinence to the sensations of the soul and the body. In its highest phase, it makes union with the white light of spirit functioning in the top brain. At the solar plexus also takes place the union between love and wisdom. The apostle who was in charge of this center is called James. Volumes might be written describing the activities by which this power builds and preserves man's body. Every bit of food that we take into our stomachs must be intelligently and chemically treated at this center before it can be distributed to the many members waiting for the center's wise judgment to supply them with the material to build bones, muscle, nerve, eye, ear, hair, nails, in fact, every part of the organism. When we study the body and its manifold functions, we see how much depends on the intelligence and the ability of James, who functions through the solar plexus. So with that said, how many times have you grabbed something to eat and thought, I shouldn't eat this, or this isn't very good for me, but you still consume it? So we're going against our wisdom, our innate wisdom. And if we cannot respond to that wisdom that is speaking to us, it is saying, yes, no, in the littlest, which we may seem the most mundane activities of feeding the body temple, what is required for happy, healthy cells. We must give the body temple what it requires to reproduce cells that are healthy. Otherwise, we will not have a healthy body. We must give it the nutrients that it requires. In reading this book on water, I also emailed it to friends, and it's just like, oh, you got to read this book. You know, friends come, oh, you got to get this book. We'll talk about it. We'll have a study group on this book. It's fabulous. And as I was, interestingly enough, in some of the friends that I've reached out with this book, oh yeah, water, cleared up headaches, cleared up eczema, cleared up all these things. The body's many cries for water. People losing 30 pounds by just drinking a glass of water a half hour before a meal. 2 glasses of water before a heavy meal. But it's a half hour, there's that time. It's interesting, and it's also interesting to note the minerals that is required. This was a huge thing, and I don't know if I shared this last time, but what I learned was that I had practically cut salt out of my diet. I didn't salt anything, but I was drinking my water. And so throughout our day, in our foods that we eat, and so, you know, there's tests that you can run on this to see how your mineral content is a quarter teaspoon of a high quality mineral salt per 32 ounces of water. So for me, I was drinking 64 ounces of water, and when I started measuring my sodium, just when I'm home cooking my own food, it took me about 3 days to go through a half a teaspoon of salt. That's how little salt I was using in my food. And so all of those are things that are important. And we don't, by happenstance, we get information. We may not have it readily, but if we're keen and are open and receptive to things that are good for us, things will show up in our lives. Random. Just random. Like my Ernest Holmes little booklet that I found in Hot Springs, Arkansas, living in the San Francisco Bay Area, right? Coming all the way over here to find this little book. I found this in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I've looked for it around here, haven't seen it. I told Natural Grocers and Vitamins Plus, you got to get this book in here. And so, but it's interesting that in these places where you don't think, you will find the wisdom for life-enhancing situations to bring more wisdom. So I thought this was great. I want to close out with a quote by Myrtle Fillmore, and also a meditation for the body temple. So the quote by Myrtle Fillmore, "How I Found Health. I went to all the centers in my body and spoke words of truth to them, words of strength and power." I thought that was such a wonderful thing to meditate on. And I know here at Unity in the past, when I've been here, I have done a meditation interestingly enough, out of a book that's called Foods That Heal. And the reason I brought this is that Dr. Bernard Jensen, he breaks down the body temple in 12 systems. So Charles Fillmore has the 12 systems, the 12 powers of man, and in here Bernard Jensen has the 12 systems of the body. He breaks them down. And our nervous system is our power of the month, the solar plex. Our solar plex. And so I'd like you to close your eyes, get comfortable. And so I invite you to exhale and take a nice deep breath. Just do a collective breath together. Exhaling and breathing in. And as you return to your natural breathing rhythm, that unique inflow and exiting of that beautiful breath of life, the breath of the divine, the same breath of life that God breathed into Adam is the same breath that is breathing us. And so as we use our imagination and we think of our skeletal system, that we know that every bone, every cartilage, every joint of the body temple is in perfect and divine harmony. That there is love moving in the skeletal system. Imagine your muscular system. All the muscles that facilitate movement, produce heat, maintain the body posture, is done by the divine flow, the divine movement. The respiratory system that oxygenates, eliminates carbon dioxide, regulates the acid base of the body, the balance. Our endocrine system, our glands, our pineal, pituitary, thyroid, pancreas, regulates our body action by secreting hormones to the circulatory system to target organs, knowing that there's perfect circulation. Our digestive system, everything moving as it should through our digestive system, breaking down the food, rebuilding our cells. Our reproductive system in perfect and divine harmony. Our this is a good one. Integrity, our skin, hair, nails, and our sweat glands, regulating our body temperature. Our lymphatic system, our eliminative system, our circulatory system, our urinary system, and with the focus this month on wisdom, our nervous system. And right here and right now, I claim and affirm that our nervous system is in perfect and divine harmony. That our solar plexus, the solar plexus is tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to the divine wisdom. That we say yes to feeding the body temple in its most highest holy way. That we hydrate the body temple. That we do what we know is required of us in every area of our lives. That we listen, that we're tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to this divine flow, to the divine guidance. And that anything and everything that no longer serves us, that we allow it, that we open our hands and allow it to freely move out. That the thoughts that we're thinking that no longer serve us, that we allow them to be exhaled out. That we do what we need to do to say, get thee behind me, Satan. That is no longer my truth. That we go to that polar opposite of that which we know to be our truth. that love and wisdom and joy, that fruit of the Spirit that is talked about, love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, is the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit that we are. That we use our imagination wisely and constructively. That we imagine the goodness in our lives and in the lives of all concerned, all the earth. That we focus on the goodness. That we move through the appearances that may show up in our lives, knowing this too shall pass with ease and grace and compassion effortlessly, knowing that there is a new effect happening, controlling the conditions through the power of our minds, that we control the conditions of the body temple through the power of our mind, knowing our most highest and holy good is at hand, that we're one with the one, that the divine essence and presence of God is right where we are, that we stand, we sit, we lie on holy ground, always, that we're never separated, even in our darkest moments, our perceived darkest moments, that we are one with the one, that God is right here, right now. And I give thanks knowing this truth. I give thanks knowing that we're created in the image and likeness of God. I give thanks knowing that wisdom is at hand for each and every one of us. That we move in the world knowing and trusting that divine essence and presence that is always guiding, guarding, and protecting us. That is us. That we rejoice in it. We rejoice in it. I say thank you, Father, Mother, God. And if you'll anchor it with me by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
When I pray, feel my heart go deeper, heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Appreciate that, guys. And thank you, Susan, Julie. That was a fantastic service, fantastic lesson. I loved it. So many things going through my mind as I was listening and thinking here. You know, I'm thinking about these thoughts and minding our P's and Q's and our imagination and how what we're presenting. And this week I had a chance, I was listening to a webinar. It was a Facebook Live, a 2-hour Facebook Live from South Africa, Dr. John DeMartini, who is he was part of the secret thing that was done 14 years ago. And anyway, I've attended some of his, but he's talking about our values, how that what we do in our life is based in the values, our highest values, our outward exposed, our external values, but then we have these hidden internal values. And that many times when we're saying and doing things that don't align with what we would like to have in our life, it's because we need to uncover those hidden values that are really driving our actions and our motivation. So I thought that was interesting. And then the whole thing about the solar plexus, you know, it's right here. And I'm trying to remember, some of y'all can help me remember. It was back in the 70s or 80s, Betty. You may remember when they started doing mindfulness meditation for physiological changes. You know, well, the solar plexus is it's a ganglion of nerves for the autonomic nervous system, which is that unconscious part of our nervous system, that fight or flight mechanism that takes place. The rest and digest part, you know, when you eat the big Sunday meal and then you want to take the nap, that's all part of it. And so that solar plexus is so important, you know, and I was thinking now we've learned in the last couple of years, it's now estimated that over, you know, up to or maybe more than 80% of the neurotransmitters in the brain are actually produced in the gut, which is right down here by that solar plexus. So you think about our attitude and all those neurochemicals taking place, being affected by, you know, how we feel, what we think, and getting back to that meditation, how we can use meditation to control physiological responses like blood pressure and, you know, heart rate and things of that nature. So anyway, very, very good. Thank you, Susan, and thank everyone for being here. We come now to our offering time. So we're going to have our usher come forward, and do you need some help, Linda, or you guys? Okay. So if you will, join me as we say our offering blessing. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Everywhere I am whole.
Yeah. Announcements. Jeannie, you want to join me for announcements? Yes.
There are some light snacks in the break room, but we're going to start as soon as we can, very close to noon, even sooner if we can. So that'll be wonderful. And let's.
Well, I know we've got the diaper drive is still going on, so we got to remember that.
Click it.
Click that. Oh, okay.
There we go.
I forgot I was in charge of the clicker.
You're in charge of the clicker. Okay, so this Saturday we have Joy Caffrey will be doing a workshop, and she's going to be in town. She's going to be staying with me, and so if anyone wants to contact Joy, because she does private appointments as well, but the workshop is always fun with Joy, so that will be this Saturday at 10 o'clock. And then we have wonderful meditation with George Crook. He is a great meditation teacher. And, it was stormy that night, Wednesday night. There were about 8 or 9 of us here, and it was wonderful. Now, he's going to be speaking next Sunday. Can't wait to hear that now that I've worked with him. And he's going to do another introductory class right after the service. So y'all will enjoy that.
Here next week.
Right. And we do have our diaper drive.
Yeah.
And this is, it'll end this Sunday, next Sunday. So, and you can bring diapers, you can bring checks though, because Jeannie's more than willing to go out and just buy the supplies. So
diapers and wipes and diaper bags and
right.
just things.
Anything related to that.
Related to all that.
So, we'll do our prayer. Yes, Susan.
May, I'll be here first Sunday, and we're going to do laughter on
Right. That's coming up. We'll get a chance to do some good laughter yoga, and that'll switch up your schedule. Now you're here the 3rd Sunday in April, right? We got April 1st, and then we'll come to May.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
We're gonna be in the garden?
Yeah, we really will be in the garden there.
Okay, good.
All right, that'll be fun.
Rain or shine? So.
Oh, come on, we're going to have we've had enough rain.
That's right. No, that's right.
But anyway, let us all join together for our prayer of protection.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, peace there will never be. The gods are creators, and we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. In every step